Just 2 months away, folks. Hi, my name is NikoTheLegend, also known as the well-mannered teenager and the snowflake, and the rambling idiot at times. And today we're talking about something very important with the Mass Effect Legendary Edition. Yes, how to prepare for the Mass Effect Legendary Edition. Now, as you see on the article on the screen, that kind of gives you an idea, a big idea, of what to expect, right? This is a big deal for a lot of people. A lot of people are expecting this to be the comeback of the Mass Effect franchise of all time. And I, for one, am glad that Mass Effect is more relevant than it ever has before. And you know what? If you're a person that's never played Mass Effect and you're going to get into this, well, this is the list, this is the place to be. And then if you're a recurring player and you want to give Mass Effect Trilogy a second chance because Andromeda ruined the entire experience for you, or it was Mass Effect 3's ending, or whatever you want to call it, and you wanted to give it another shot, maybe this will bring you back. This is what we're going to talk about, how to prepare for the Mass Effect Legendary Edition. And before we get into that, if you like what you saw today, feel free to subscribe to the NikoTheLegend channel. I'm here all day, folks. We'd love to see you around. I appreciate that. And then the other links to the other platforms for Nico will be down in the description below. Now, guys, how do we prepare for the Mass Effect Legendary Edition? I skimmed through this article, and there were a few things that made sense on how to do it properly, but I was kind of taken back on just seeing that this only has a few things to prepare for it. I actually made a little list of my own. Look, the list can go on for forever, like Santa Claus list, checking if you're naughty or nice. But I try to summarize, I try to compact into as little as possible. Now, we will go over what this article says, because it does make sense. A lot of this can reflect on Mass Effect players, newcomers, and then returning players, for sure. And this applies for me as well. So we're just going to kind of skim through this, and then you'll see on the screen the list that I have made to add on to what's already on here. Like I said, I was a little surprised that it didn't have more on there, but I kind of get it. You got to release this article with some things on there. Now, if there's anything else that you guys think should be help prepare for the Mass Effect Legendary Edition, let me know down in the comments below. Comment. It helps with the YouTube algorithms. You guys know how much fun that is to deal with. So I appreciate that. So, how to prepare for the Mass Effect Legendary Edition. Let's get on with the show, right? Now, the first one says, wear some Mass Effect merchandise. Well, we kind of spoiled the second one. Now, what does that mean? That means dress up however way you want to represent Mass Effect and your love for it, right? The BioWare store is back up, and it was on a hiatus from April 2018 to July 2020. And before that, it was alive and well, and maybe you guys still have your Mass Effect clothing or, anything, maybe even, it can be Dragon Age, it doesn't matter, but Mass Effect included, or exclusive, that's where it's at. So if you got a beanie, you got a jacket, if you're one of those people that ordered the Legendary Cache and you're getting a Mass Effect N7 helmet, unfortunately that stuff won't ship till after the game releases, which is a huge bummer, because I think it would have been funny to wear the N7 helmet while streaming the entire remastered trilogy, or just whenever, right? But yeah, if you want to represent the game in any shape or form besides just playing it and just showing your love, wearing the merchandise will definitely help spread the word of how much you like it, and just hey, yay, everyone's coming together and playing one of their favorite franchises, So I think that's pretty neat. Listen, for example, I got a lift like a Krogan gym tank top, which is great, and then I have an N7 front plate on my car, which is also great, and then I can't wait to get that N7 helmet. So the next one says okay, now this is a big one here. Now I don't know how long this article's gonna take or how long this video is gonna be, guys, so bear with me. Decide on a Paragon or Renegade path. Yes, we all know that BioWare likes to do the light and dark side that stemmed from, Star Wars Knights of the Republic. That's where it originally came from. Now, if it didn't originally come from there, maybe it came from Baldur's Gate or Neverwinter Nights. Let me know. I don't think it did because I played those games, but I'm pretty sure it's night and day, black and white, like it is in Knights of the Republic and in Mass Effect. It's interesting that Mass Effect decides to take the same path. This just proves the point that Mass Effect is definitely the Star Wars of video games. And BioWare did such a good job with Knights of the Republic with the Renegade, with the light side and dark side type decisions, and they really wanted to give it much more of an impact in Mass Effect, because the way Mass Effect is played out compared to Knights of the Republic is completely different. Because one is more story focused and takes its time. It's got more turn-based mechanics, right? And then Mass Effect is more in your face action RPG cover-based shooter. You get the picture. So they had to implement something like that. Well, they didn't have to, but they wanted to. They wanted to implement a Paragon or Renegade type light side, dark side system into the game. And how would they do that? Well, you'll just have to wait and see. But there are decisions you make that are like in Star Wars, Knights of the Republic, where are going to be light and dark side that kind of give you the path that you're going to take. Now, it's more apparent in Mass Effect because you get to see the colored writing, the colored words when you're making a decision, and sometimes you have to have enough Renegade and Paragon choices to make them. But you'll definitely see them in the dialogue wheel for sure. And then there'll be interaction cues that pop up on your screen when you press a certain button that's for Paragon or for Renegade, and it has you do something completely different. So it's pretty cool. And I get it, guys. You take your time when you're doing this, when you're choosing which path you want to go on. There's many combinations you can do. You can be a Paragon only. You can be a Renegade only. There's no right or wrong here. And then there's also, down the middle where you really play the character, how you would play it, how you would pick the decisions to make. Especially in a badass sci-fi opera. Just kidding, not opera. Well, getting close, but awesome sci-fi role-playing game. So can't wait for that, right? Now this last one before we get into the stuff that I have, and you guys are going to be seeing the stuff listed on the screen here already. Prepare for an awesome and heartbreaking journey. Yes, Mass Effect is a trilogy of games, even Andromeda, okay, we'll include that. I'm not going to count that out. Just anything Mass Effect related that adds to the lore, whether it was bad or good. BioWare does a fantastic job on making you really feel the weight of your decisions. Yes, even the extended cut with Mass Effect 3. Not trying to start any wars here, but BioWare knows how to make those things come alive. They've been doing it for a long time. They really, really want you to be engrossed into this world, sucked into it, putting yourself in the shoes of Commander Shepard or any one of these teammates in these situations, on these planets. They want to take you for a roller coaster ride of a lifetime. And Mass Effect Trilogy does that countless times during certain very pivotal key moments in the franchise. But you know what? Not even the biggest ones, even the smallest ones, when you're just talking to your squad mates, when you're just having a chillax session in your cabin and you're just drinking, and you're like, hey, this stuff is getting bad out there. The shepherds are dying. The Reapers are out there, and how do we even do this? Like, this is impossible, right? It's not for the faint of heart, knowing how trivial these lives in the galaxy really are to these godly figures that are coming to wipe us all out. So that's kind of like the premise. You just have to. It's like such an overarching thing that just shadows over you the entire time you're playing. Even in the first game, when you're just dabbling into what Saren is up to. Why did he defect as a rogue? Why did he go Rogue Spectre status? Right? Why? Because he was scared too. He wanted to not die. He feared death, just like the rest of us would. And he's a relatable villain. I completely understand that. People, when push comes to shove. And absolute power corrupts absolutely. I also get that too. All living beings are easily corruptible. And Mass Effect Trilogy, with BioWare at the wheel, they know how to make you feel like this is a journey to remember. And it's an awesome experience for sure. And you guys are in for the ride of your lifetime. It's the thrills, the chills, the sadness, the happy, the anger. Everything is going to be mixed into one. And you guys are going to be able to experience it. And it's fun. It's a fun trilogy. It's a ton of fun. And the characters you meet along the way will help guide you along. They will guide you to salvation, maybe. Now, as I was mentioning before, this is all this article has. Now, what other ways did Nico come up with for you to prepare for the Mass Effect Legendary Edition? Now, as I mentioned before, this list could go on forever. Okay, this is it could be a very long list. So I decided to just do a little bit of research just for the Mass Effect Legendary Edition itself. Okay, not Mass Effect as a whole. Let's just stick to just strictly speaking about the Legendary Edition, the game itself that's releasing in May, which I'm sure you guys already gathered as the title suggests. But I'm just saying. Now, the first one I had for myself, as you'll see, it'll be added to the already list on the screen thanks to the article here, is do your research. Okay, I know that sounds silly and boring and tedious, but do your research. There are a lot of people out there that think that this is a remake trilogy. It is not. And I've done a video on that, and then there's countless articles out there stating from the developers that it is not a remake. Whether you believe it or not, that's up to you. But you don't want to go in guns blazing, already cocked, and you come out feeling disappointed. No, the Mass Effect 3 ending to it changing. It is not changing. It is staying the same. Nothing is being added to that. No to the people that think this is a remake. You know, you just want to be on the same level as everybody else or close to it on knowing what experience you're getting yourself into. And that's the most important part, right? It's just to know. Now, if you already understand what you're getting yourself into, that's great. And, you know, sometimes blind optimism is okay. Ignorance is bliss. There's nothing wrong with that, especially if you're a newcomer and stuff. Maybe you just trust BioWare so much, or this game just caught your eye and you're just going to get it right away. That's fine. I've done that before. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you come out feeling disappointed and really just, you know, I'll just say it, butthurt about the whole process, that you spent all your hard-earned money on getting this game and it turned out to be a schlock fest, well, there were ways for you to better yourself on making a proper smart purchase, because $60 isn't cheap for a lot of people, especially in these trying times. So that's why just be in the need to know, you know. Just give yourself some credit, too, when you do the proper research and see what people are saying about it. Now, don't do too much digging to where it just completely steers you away and just makes you sour on the experience. You want to at least have your curiosity there to help. You know, this is all supposed to help you want it to purchase, or, I don't know, maybe not purchase. That's a tough one. You'll have to make that on your own, that decision. Now, the next one. Make the right character for you. Yes, I'm surprised this article didn't talk about that. Make the Commander Shepard that you want to play. You're going to be saving the galaxy, so you're going to want to look the role, right? You want to make the Shepard that looks and fits your personality, your look, how you want to express yourself in this game. Now, granted, the Mass Effect character creator I was never a big fan of, and I'm sure many others think the same way, because it wasn't that robust. And your characters look, let's just say, not as cool as the default look. I always like default Mel Shepard, and especially default Mass Effect 3 Fem Shep. I think they look fantastic, and there was no way for me to ever look that cool. Maybe I just didn't have a good enough imagination, or I just didn't like how ill-optimized those sliders were. You know, it reminds me of Dark Souls 3 sliders, that if anybody knows. The character creator in that game is not very well optimized as well. You gotta really, really take the time out. But sometimes I don't want to do that. I don't want to spend 3 hours making a character look the way it does. It shouldn't take that long to find the character that looks to be my role, to fit what I want out of this game with this awesome protagonist that's gonna be with me the entire 60 plus hours of this trilogy combined. Maybe even longer, maybe even shorter, depending on who you are. So guys, when you're making your character, try your best, and I hope in the Legendary Edition that it's more robust, it's more refined, it has quality of life enhancements, because, oh my lord, you know how many times I've made a character in the game thinking it's looking great, and then once I start playing, it looks terrible. And I have to go back and keep redoing and redoing it. I've done it millions and millions of times, just kidding, dozens. So that's very important. The next one. Play the game multiple times. Yes. So you think that you're going to get the experience you want by playing through the entire trilogy once? Ha! Ha ha ha. Oh, silly you. I mean, maybe you get your fill. But if you were like me and you had to play the Mass Effect games one at a time instead of a trilogy coming out at once, then I think we can get where I'm going with this. So Mass Effect, like I said before, BioWare gives you the options of choosing multiple ways to play the game, encountering the story, and choosing how it ends and where it goes from there. Especially with the ending to Mass Effect 3, just, despite how cookie cutter the decision making is at the end. There are different ways to play it. And I think that's great. One decision turns into many. It is a giant web in the Mass Effect franchise, in the trilogy, that you're going to be wanting to go back and make those different decisions. I think that's very important to do, because if you're having such a good time and you had a blast with your first character that you went through the entire trilogy, go play it again. You can choose the same character, but maybe choose a different decision you made here. That you made in the previous decision, because you were curious to see how this would go, or you want to go full Paragon, as mentioned before, or full Renegade. That's the replay value of it. Or you just want to do a new game plus and just go through the entire trilogy again with the same character, and do the same crap again. That's perfectly fine, and that's a lot of fun to do. Everybody's done that. But if you're satisfied with the playthrough that you got originally, then that's great, because this is a game a lot to handle at first, because you're getting the entire trilogy. You might feel that pressure, so this actually is going to lead up to the next one pretty soon here. But yeah, try to have the most fun you can with the game, and if you're compelled to go back and play it, go ahead and play it. There's nothing wrong with that. Like I said, it is a normal thing to do with BioWare games. Is to replay these games over and over again. It's a ton of fun. Now, the last one among many, many that could be added more to this, and I can't wait to hear what you guys have to say about it in the comments below. This is a big one. And even if this is for newcomers and returning players alike, is to take your time when you're playing the Legendary Edition, specifically. Now, I can understand if you played the Mass Effect trilogy dozens and dozens of times, you can kind of just streamline it to where you know what quests to take and what quests not to take, what to save. You know how this goes. But the Legendary Edition is a special case this time around. It's an exception. It's an experiment that I hope goes right and I'm sure a lot of us are hoping for that as well. Is taking your time and enjoying the sights, the scenery, the characters, the dialogue, the gameplay, the lore, the races, the planets you go to, the exploration. This is a science-y space game. That's about as lame as a description as any. But whatever. This is a sci-fi opera action role-playing game that you're going to spend a lot of time in. And it's, why would you want to rush it, right? I get that there are people out there that just want to go play the main storyline. That's fine. But when you're playing the main storyline, just experience it, enjoy it. Try to look into the decisions that you're making along the way. Get to know your crew. Get to know why people are so fascinated with the crew of the Normandy, or anything that goes into the Mass Effect universe. And the Legendary Edition is going to bring that back out, where we want to see what they changed in terms of just like updating the graphics and maybe the controls or quality of life stuff. What did BioWare do to go back and, make the game more a vision of the original vision of the trilogy, if you want to call it that. You can call it whatever you like. And just like I said, returning or newcomers themselves, just take your time. You spent all the money, you spent a lot of money on this game. I wouldn't want you to rush through it and go to the next game right away. This is a big deal of a trilogy. You cannot tread lightly with this game. There has been many, many, many different opinions on this trilogy, and I've heard them all. And what opinion will you have? Well, that's up to you to decide. And I hope that the opinion you get out of this trilogy, it stems from you actually giving this game the time of day, playing it steady as she goes, but also just having the thrill and the fun and the excitement. I can't stress that enough, because you don't want it to be over. That's the thing. The bottom line is that you never want this story to be over. You want to keep going, and I'm excited for the next Mass Effect game to release. But this is what we have for now. And this will have to satisfy us for a long time to come, because Mass Effect 4 or 5, whatever you want to call it, will take a while to release. So let's take our time and explore, re-explore the joyness of what this brought to many gamers' hearts. And I can't wait for all of us to experience that. Anyway, that is a good little summarized list on how to prepare for the Mass Effect Legendary Edition. As mentioned before, there are countless ways to do this, and I hope that I nailed some of them for people, especially the ones that have never even touched Mass Effect, because, you know, you guys, the followers, the supporters of the NikoLegend channel, have asked me questions on how to prepare for the Mass Effect Legendary Edition. And the one I always say is to take your time. That's the biggest one for me. You just don't want to be overwhelmed so easily, and just that freaking, oh man, sensory overload can be a horrible thing at times. So yeah, definitely recommend taking your time. And you know, this is going to be a fun journey for all of us. As you all know, if you don't know, I'm definitely going to be streaming this on the YouTube NikoTheLegend channel, the entire Trilogy playthrough. I can't wait to do this, and I'm sure a lot of you can't wait either. I'm super excited to hear what you guys have to say about it as the days, you know, pass by. And the Mass Effect Legendary Edition, you know, we all hope that it gets that itch off our back for a long time, and it's going to be a lot of fun. And I hope that this list has helped you guys. So I have been your host, NikoTheLegend, well-mannered teenager, the snowflake, and the rambling idiot. And as I said before, I can't stress it enough. Comment. Let me know what you guys think down below on how you're preparing for the Mass Effect Legendary Edition. And for anybody out there that's wondering, leave them some tips so they can check it out. I'm sure like I said, there's a huge list that can just go on and on and on. It'd be great for all of us to just let the newcomers, you know, get a head start and understand why this is so important. But hey, like I said, blind optimism, ignorance is bliss. That is perfectly fine too. If the trailer sucked you right in, and you're like, okay, I'm definitely getting this, then let it suck you right in. And I'm excited to hear what you guys have to say about your experience with the Mass Effect Legendary Edition and how you're preparing for it. Thank you, Pathfinders. You know what? We made it to 23 minutes. That's not too bad. That's not too bad at all.